I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Troy City Board of Education. Today is Monday, March 9th. Stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Beamish?
Here.
Mr. Hefner? Here. Mr. Lucas? Mrs. Reeves?
Here.
Mr. Trussell?
Here. First item on the agenda is a moment of silence for several individuals. First is Emily Conley, 80, of Anna and formerly of Troy, passed away on Monday, February 16th, 2015. Emily worked in food service at the high school in Cookson Elementary from 1980 until her retirement in 1994. Marilyn Dirth, 76, of Troy, passed away on Saturday, February 21st, 2015. She was a graduate of Piqua High School and a 1960 graduate of Bowling Green University. Marilyn taught first grade at Cookson for 28 years before her retirement in 2002. Douglas Weichert, 68, of Troy, passed away February 12th, 2015. He was an assistant varsity track coach for Troy schools from 2007 to 2009. Deja Bishop, 13. Deanna Bishop, 14, of Troy, passed away Friday, February 27th. And Jakaya Jones, 13, of Troy, passed away Sunday, March 1st. All of the children attended Troy Junior High. Thank you. I'd like to move into the presentations. Mr. Herman?
Mr. Dilbaum, we'll lead off with you.
Sure. We've got some guidance counselors as well as a teacher with us. They were recently recognized by OMLA for different distinctions, and I'll say that piece. We've got a representative from OMLA here to present the awards, but they aren't aware of this. But apparently, State Senator Bill Beagle caught wind of the fact that they were recognized, and we have very nice letters here from him for each one of them, along with recognition from the General Assembly of the State of Ohio, the Ohio Senate, with signatures from Senator Keith Faber, the President of the Ohio Senate, and Senator Bill Beagle from the 5th Senatorial District. So I'd like to present this to them, and then I'll turn it over to Tracy Kramer, who's the representative from OMLA this evening.
I'm going to read from this because I don't have it all memorized. The Ohio Middle Level Association is dedicated to serving the needs of young adolescents. We seek to recognize schools, faculty, and/or programs that nurture the social, emotional, intellectual, and physical well-being of the young adolescent. Using this, we believe, the Association for Middle Level Education's Handbook for Effective Middle Schools as our guide, we look for schools that are implementing best middle level practices. It is my pleasure to represent Ohio's West Region today and honor Troy Junior High for their work with young adolescents. First, nominated by their principal, I would like to recognize Laura Jackson and Kelly Leganic, guidance counselors at Troy Junior High School. Mrs. Jackson and Ms. Leganic started a student group called the 4 Squad after Rachel's Challenge was presented this fall. Under the guidance and leadership of Ms. Jackson and Ms. Leganic, this group of students has focused on making a positive difference in the building. Weekly meetings are held with discussions focusing on leadership, optimism, kindness, and how to impact the world around you. Students have planned many activities thus far to make a positive difference in the building and are genuinely excited about the project. Mrs. Jackson and Ms. Leganic's continued efforts in advisory and character education will shape and mold future leaders from Troy Junior High in a manner that far and away exceeds that of most guidance counselors. So join me in recognizing them. Let's see how many hands I have. Here we go. And for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Jackson, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice.
Next, nominated by Laura Jackson, I would like to recognize Lindsay Shank, Meredith Paris, Carl Ratterman, and Brian Racy, 8th grade teachers at Troy Junior High. These teachers have partnered with Troy Historical Society, the Troy Local History Library, and the Museum of Troy History to teach students about the rich history of Troy, Ohio, and the important role their hometown's history has played in national history. While students are learning about and appreciating their local history, they are also learning key concepts and skills found within the language arts and social studies curricula. Students enjoy learning about the people and places of their hometown. They often remark how they have passed by or lived near many of the places discussed and have no knowledge of their past. Learning about the rich history of their hometown seems to encourage the students to research even more into the past, motivates them to find ways to currently make a difference, and fosters an appreciation for the people and events of their own town. Integrated curriculum is an important component of the middle level philosophy, and OMLA is pleased to see this happening in this manner at Troy. So, Meredith, you want to come on up? Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I think I said Carl, is it Carrie?
No, it's Carl.
Oh, I did. Okay. Okay.
Unable to be with us this evening were Lindsay Shank, Carl Radman, and Brian Racy, but they work together as a collective team with Mrs. Paris that does the history unit. It's fantastic, by the way. So congratulations to Mrs. Jackson, Mrs. Leganic, Mrs. Paris. Give one more round of applause, we would. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Appreciate it. Good job, group. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Dillon.
Thank you.
The next one is, it's a word kind of came to us, Teachers Rock. It's out of the Cellular Connection. They did a nationwide, where they went out to teachers, they created book bags, and they selected teachers and brought them supplies. And we had 10 teachers that were honored at that last week, the week before. Let me get their names. Michelle Skipper from Forest, Gianna Lampert, Kyle, Linda Holt from Haywood, Karen Richardson from Van Cleve, Jason Orsborn from the high school, Jane Wise from Concord, Karen Warnicki from Hook, Angie Clouds from the junior high, Stephanie Schroeder from Cookson, and Kim Oaks from the Hook. And basically it was their way, they call it the culture of good. It's their way of just saying, hey, teachers really do a great job, teachers rock, and they just wanted to show some appreciation. So they went out and presented them at their buildings. So, yeah, it's kind of nice. There's a lot of good things happening. So. The next one that I have is come from Ohio school boards, and it's recognizing school board members who have years of service. And the 2 people years of service to get this many years, I'm amazed that somebody does school board this many years, so it's pretty impressive. But Joyce Reese for 10 years, her 10-year anniversary, and for Stephen Lucas, his 15th year event. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Reese. Seriously, on school boards, it's not a lot of people that stay around that long. It's kind of a thankless job and a lot of hours and a lot of time. So a lot of times it changes over, but we're fortunate. Ms. Trost got 15 last year, 15 and 10. We have a lot of people that are staying around. So I think that means we're doing some good things.
Or we keep trying to get it
Or
right,
we keep
right?
trying.
Congratulations.
Thank you, yes.
The next one's audit report. Mr. Price is going to talk about it a little bit. I just want to kind of talk about Mr. Price just a little bit. And I told him I wouldn't say anything about FIPCA, but I can't help it. It's kind of neat when you get a clean audit. It means everything's kind of went in place and works very, very hard at it. But not only that, I mean, the audit, he's got a nice little certificate here. This came from the State Senate, addressing that. And basically telling how the people they should understand how fortunate they are that someone's doing a good audit, taking care of their money and taking care of things. I think Mr. Price does a great job. He fits here amazingly well. It works extremely well, and that makes it even better. But to get two of them, this would be your second one. You've been here how many years?
Two.
Two, okay. Pretty good then, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So I just think it's really neat to mention that. He helps in many, many areas, but to get clean means exactly what it says. Everything was done right, and we're taking care of people's money. That's a good thing.
Absolutely. Good job.
Congratulations.
You're gonna talk later about it, aren't you? Are you gonna talk now? Huh?
No.
No, go on. You're right.
As Mr. Herman said, we did receive a clean audit. It was filed late February. We had no material control weaknesses, no significant deficiencies of internal control, no non-compliance, no material internal control weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, and no findings. And we received the unmodified opinion, which is the highest possible. We did have a couple verbal comments, which we argued heavily, but they commented we had 1 month where we did not spend our federal funds within 30 days. I think it was 32 days before we had it fully spent. Invoice, check writing, timing. And then the second one was dealing with the House Bill 264 payback, which I dug through the file that Mr. Pence, he was back and forth with the auditors at the time that that debt was issued and how to record that. We had been recording that not part of our fiscal year in closing. It's not part of our carryover balance or anything. We set aside on a quarterly basis quarterly payments over, I think it's a 15-year period. And then once that 15-year period is completed, the funds are then to be paid to the bank to pay off the note that was issued, I believe 6 years ago. With the correspondence back and forth between Mr. Pence and the Auditor State's office, you could record it either on your books or off the books. Well, Mr. Pence chose off the books. Now they changed their minds. They don't want to record it that way. So we will be changing that. It will be part of our year-end balance going forward. So you'll see that fund presented at the end of the fiscal year as part of our closeout, and that amount will increase each year for the next 9 years until we pay it off at the end. So those are the only two verbal comments we got.
Nice job, very good. Mr. Moore?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The big news on Race to the Top is we started testing February 23rd. We've been talking about it for 4 years or longer, but our staff, our students, everyone has worked extremely hard, our technology department, and I think that work had paid off with a smooth start to the testing schedule. All 9 of our buildings have participated in online testing. Some are a little further ahead than others. The only thing that hasn't cooperated last week was the weather a little bit, but aside from that, our buildings were prepared for that. We had spoken to them in advance about having a plan in place if there were delays or if there were snow days, and it has continued to work smoothly even with a few adjustments to the schedule. Science, social studies, math, language arts, all of them have went off. We've learned a lot in the process. Although it's went smoothly, there's been a few bugs. We found ways to fix some of those things to share with our staff. We've had to call to get some additional help on a few items, but overall, it's went very well. And I credit that to our teachers and kids for taking the time to get involved, to understand the system, to do the practice tests, and to work at it. And if this system continues, I think the work that we've put in now will continue to serve us well. We will be doing an end-of-year assessment later this spring, which will also be online. And we're just kind of looking forward to each day learning a little more and troubleshooting that, and it's working well. I think our kids, the preparation, there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear once we got started. I think that has went away. Since we last met, we haven't had a Race to the Top meeting. We will meet again next week on March 19th, and in that meeting will be a little bit of a discussion on how testing is going in each of the buildings of the teachers and administrators that are present on that committee, as well as any questions or concerns about where we are with OTES. We are approaching the point where some of those things start to wrap up, and we talked about roster verification, linking students to teachers, and making sure we're doing that correctly. as well as wrapping up end of year finances for Race to the Top, which this is the final year of that. So a lot of good things going on in Race to the Top, a lot of good things going on in the schools. Any questions from the group?
As far as the testing, is this where the students or parents have the options to opt out? And what sort of percent of opt-outs been looking like?
I don't know the overall percentage. I think our round number of students is approximately 150
It's
kids.
about 4.5%, something like that. We've taken a stance with that. I mean, if a parent wants to do that, fine. I mean, we've not fought that or put up any roadblocks to them. We accept whatever they turn into us, and then we have a letter that we've developed that we send out, and basically goes back through, you know, the basically the third grade and all the things that you have to be concerned with. We talked to them about if you know, by not taking the test, then any of the results coming back are probably gonna be a 0. Just the obvious things they need to know, and also to take care of the school, that we've done our due diligence. We've tried to do it so if someone would come in and check us, we haven't just randomly, we've tried to, we've talked to each parent, explained to them why not, and then I've told my folks to kind of stay out of that. I mean, you give them the facts, let them look at the facts, and let them decide as a parent where they're at, not Mr. Herman said this or any of the above, you know. Yeah, as you know, the state's doing some things with testing, so I think they're gonna make some changes with it. But until we get through it and see what all happens.
This has been a hard year anyways,
Yeah.
because we've had duplicate testing and, you know, yeah.
A lot of hours, a lot of stuff going on. So I think the state's gonna step in and take care of that, but right now it kinda is what it is. We're required by law to test, so we're gonna do that.
Any other questions, guys? Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple more things while I've got you. The art exhibit down at Hainer, it's open through April 26th. We were just down there early, it's really good.
It is really good.
Every year,
Yeah,
really nice.
amazing.
I say this every year, but they do get better every year. And they have different types of art down there. So it's worth
Jill
going
say
down.
there's over 400 pieces of art
Yeah.
on display down there?
Mhm.
Oh, that's pretty
So
amazing.
it truly is worth the time to go down and take a look at it. Tomorrow, just want to remind everybody, the junior high is closed for students. It's a work day for staff, so the staff will be in to work, just like normal. We thought that was the right thing. I think the junior high too, over here, they've done with a very tragic situation, junior high has done a nice job. I mean, as far as, we've had some grief counselors that came in. We had 5 junior high and 5 at Haywood that have done an outstanding job. I mean, they came in and helped and really kind of put it all together. But the junior high staff has done an excellent job, Mr. Dillbone leading that. They've done a real nice job in a very tough situation. Mr. Sadler at Haywood's done a nice job. So just tomorrow, a reminder, the junior high will be closed, just the junior high. It's only students, the staff will report as normal.
I just want to make a comment. I've noticed what the schools have done through this unfortunate situation. And I think what we have done has been terrific as far as the support from the schools, from the administration, from the teachers. It's really seen out in the community, it's felt, so I want to certainly thank Mr. Dilborn and his staff and Mr. Herman. What you've done has been terrific. The communication to us has been great as well, so I think we handled it very well.
I think it just reinforces once again the partnerships that the community and schools and everyone has with one another, because I know, you know, from the city's perspective, there's just been constant communication with the leadership at Lincoln Center and the schools, and we've even laid some offers out on the table. Some were taken advantage of, so others were not. But, you know, to know that everybody was willing to step forward and do their part. So this is when you're most proud of being a part of a community like Troy, so. Mr. Dubon, especially thanks for what the junior high has been able to do for that. So.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Brings us to the first hearing of the public. If anybody wishes to address the board of any matter of issues on the agenda, now would be the time to do so. If not, we'll move into the regular agenda items. First is the treasurer's report. And the first item is the approval of the minutes of our meeting of Monday, February 9th, 2015. These were previously distributed to you. Would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted. So moved.
Second.
Any comments, corrections? Roll call?
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes. Next item is the financial reports. This would include our SM2, our monthly total revenue, monthly total expenditures, monthly ending balances, schedule of revenues, expenses, and change in fund balances, the 5-year forecast, appropriation account summary, and the investment schedule. Would entertain a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Price?
Just to highlight the SM2, we are still tracking very well for the fiscal year, so that is good news. Our next big settlement will be at the end of April for income tax.
Okay.
And probably a couple weeks before that, we should have our final settlement for property taxes also.
Any comments?
On the expenditures, the purchase services, being far below what we had expected, which is good news, but what's driving that?
A lot of it is probably fuel.
Oh, okay,
And then utilities have not gone up what we initially anticipated because
okay,
we negotiated a better deal. If you remember, through our consortium, the EPC for
EPC.
natural gas. A year ago, we did the electricity, so it's mainly the utilities.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure the fuel has to be pretty impactful in that
Yes.
too.
Yeah,
Any other questions? Roll call?
Mrs. Reeves?
yes,
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes. Next is approving the tax rates. These rates have been certified by the County Budget Commission, and on February 25th, the Budget Commission certified the following rates of tax to be levied for school purposes on the general duplicates for 2015, of which we have a listing. I would entertain a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
second,
And Mr. Price, you wanted to?
Yes, a couple comments I placed before you this evening, a comparison over the last 3 years of those tax rates and values associated therewith. You'll notice in fiscal year 15, the no limitation general fund has decreased. That's because of the unknown of the 5.9 levy, for which we're on the May 5th ballot for renewal. I have not had the conversation, but I'm assuming if we're successful on May 5th with that renewal, we'll be coming back to you with an adjusted rate sheet
Okay.
to approve it at that point. Any questions?
Any other comments or questions? What I wish this did reflect was what the actual value of the levies are today at their collectible rate versus what their
what they are stated.
their face value.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
outside millage, not counting the capital improvement and the bond retirement, we're just under 22 mils, I believe.
And if we get below 20, then it automatically bounces at 20 mil?
Yeah. Which if we had not seen the valuation decrease since '07, this year we're back up slightly, we would be below the 20 mil effective rate. So we'd be seeing a few more dollars than what we're actually getting today because of that.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes,
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes. Next item is the then and nows. This has become a fairly regular, common monthly occurrence where there have been appropriations available or there was, the fiscal officer is certifying that there were appropriations available in funds in the treasury, but there was not time to issue a contract prior to the expenditure. This gives retroactive approval for the purchase orders listed below. There's a total of 6 items for a total of $1,177. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any further comment?
Just one comment, I believe in 3 of these cases, when we instituted this, we could, if you remember, I mentioned that we may have instances where something was put through right at the end of the month, and I think 3 of the 6 involved that scenario, so it's just we happen to close out and get into the next month before the paperwork found its way around to everybody, the PO issued, so.
The number looks better than last.
Yes.
We will
Shorter
continue-
list, right?
yes.
The number and the magnitude.
Yes.
We will continue reminding our administration and staff members proper procedures.
It's inevitable. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Time to time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes. Next item is the consideration of a bid to replace the roof. I assume it's part of the roof at Troy High School. We advertised for bids in February 11th and February 18th in Troy Daily News. Received a total of 8 bids, and this hereby authorizes the lowest and best bid for Maxim Roofing in the amount of $383,000. Would entertain a motion to authorize the expenditure.
So moved.
Second.
Any further explanation?
We had a meeting, I think last week. Ms. Reeves, Ms. Beamish was there, and we went through all of our capital expenditures, what we thought we needed to do. Roofing is just one of those we can't get away from, but when you have to do that, we have about $685,000, and one roof kind of depletes a lot of that. So we went through everything, all of our buildings, stadium, we got a little bit going on in every place that we'll start on fairly soon.
Have we used Maxim Roofing before?
No, we have not. It is a relatively new company, but with very experienced staff. They've come from
Okay.
other companies and formed their own
Okay,
company.
good, okay.
Titus did a reference check, but the architectural firm that we used, RDA Group, is very familiar with this group, and we're pleased.
Okay,
This involves 2 large sections on the west side of the high school building. I believe that roof area is 25 years old.
Weight room area.
It was originally estimated by the architectural group to cost about $478,000. The low bid came in at $383,000, so that's
it's the right direction.
95 below the anticipated amount.
Pretty competitive bids here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
it's
were
nice.
pretty bunched up with the exception of one,
We were
yeah.
pleased. We had 9 attend the pre-bid meeting a few weeks ago, and out of that 9, we received 8 bids, so we were very pleased.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes. Anything else from the treasurers? Moving to the superintendent's report. Mr. Herman, you want to report on the generous gifts?
Yeah, this month, as you can see, we're starting the scholarships. Starting to come in for the scholarship money. Most of these are going to the scholarship fund, $5,848.18. And just about all of them, I think, for scholarship, one way or the other.
Entertaining a motion to accept the gifts and express our appreciation.
So moved.
Second.
Any other comments or questions? Year-to-date, this brings our total to $291,000 in gifts. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Roll call?
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes. Next item is a request for non-routine use of our buses. This has become an annual request on behalf of the Troy Strawberry Festival. They will be requesting the use of our buses for June 6th and 7th. And the Strawberry Festival Committee will pay all costs associated with the use of our buses. Would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any other comments?
No, it's fairly standard.
Every year. Yeah.
Roll call?
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes. This brings us to personnel. We have been submitted a list of personnel items for the month. Would entertain a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Price, you want to make an introduction?
This evening we have Candace Schwartz, the chosen candidate to replace Susan Denlinger, which will be retiring effective July 1st. We're pleased to have her aboard.
Welcome. Some big shoes to fill when we have all these plaques, so you gotta. Is anyone else here, Marion, that we need to?
Yes, Matt Seifring is here.
He's wandering, right?
He's got a little one, yeah.
He's got his little one here.
He's right.
There he is.
Yes.
Matt Seifring is we're recommending him for the principal at Van Cleve, sixth grade building. Yeah,
That's right.
This is very much
Yeah.
in favor.
Yes.
Matt currently is assistant principal at Troy Junior High, and before that he taught social studies at Troy High School, so we're very excited about him taking over.
That's a very unique building. I think it'd be a great place to call home for a while, so.
Yeah, I think so. Looking forward to it very much. The character of the building and, you know, the unique setting with one class there and one grade, and a fantastic staff, and, you know, the great groundwork that Mr. Keller has already established there. Really looking forward to it.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other comments from any personnel? If not, roll call?
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes. Any board members have anything else to be brought up? Anything else on the superintendent's report?
I just want to remind everybody about the levy, 5.9 mil renewal levy. No increase in taxes, May 5th. The no increase in taxes is really important to remember that part.
Got that.
And the recognition that our treasurer's office gets
Continue.
annually showing the credible protection, preservation of our funds, so that should all give us confidence. This brings us to the second hearing of the public. If anybody wants to address anything to the board. Mr. Ham, congratulations on your recognition this last month.
Thank you, Mr. Trussell.
It's always nice to see those Trojan alumni get that recognition. Anything else to be brought before the group? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes.
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mrs. Beamish?
Yes.
Mr. Trussell?
Yes.